natubu ilayk. We'll talk about the what happened before that with the jinn next week, as well as the heavenly traverse, inshaAllah ta'ala. And so you asked the specific question. You said, how does one get from when speaking about fana, annihilation of self, how does one move from simple belief to experience? And so the first thing that I want to say is honestly, we have to define this, because even though you and I know what we're talking about, perhaps someone who does listen to this doesn't understand. So fana does not mean that one is in a spiritual ecstasy where nothing exists and it's just you and Allah. This is how people imagine it. If you read Sufi literature, this is how it's sometimes described. What's more is that this is an attack that's made on some Sufi writings, this talk of fana or annihilation. Some people even claim that there is no longer me, there is only Allah, right? And this is claims that are made. Even in Sufi literature, you do find things like this. And what's more is that there are people who have states to where there is nothing but the real, and so they've become majdub, right? To where they're attracted, and they don't even realize they're in this world any longer. They have gone inside, and their outside it's not a reality for them in that moment. But when we say fana, this annihilation of self, what we really mean is that a realization that I am nothing, and this world is nothing, and that everything that is only contingently. And what's more is nothing is except that it is from the actions and the manifestation of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so although I experience my feelings and my movements and the changes that I go through, the reality is that this is all, though it is real, it is an illusion. I say it's real because we can touch it, we can measure it, we can weigh it, it's real, it's physical. But the physicality itself is but an illusion. It's temporary, it's going away. And Allah is the real. Everything that is only by the command of Allah. Everything that is only by the permission of Allah. And I am nothing except the command of Allah. Allah told me to be, and I am. Right? And so this is the state of fana. This is the state of leaving all of this and realizing that everything that is. This is the state of أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. Worship Allah as though you see Him. Everything that isn't, except that Allah is. Right? And so this is fana. It's not a going away or becoming one with the universe or something. And it's not. It's a realization that La ilaha illallah. It's a realization that La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's a realization of this, and a realization that I am nothing except what my Lord has made me.
It's not transcendental, it is submission.
No.
Not resignation, but submission, which is a conscious act.
It's greater than submission, because you realize that I am only submitting because my Lord is allowing me to submit.
Exactly.
Even the submission itself, you're realizing that this isn't me. This is my Lord permitting this, and so you lose yourself to your Lord. Right? It's a realization of slavehood. It's a realization of ubudiyah. You lose you only to find your Lord. And this is why you see when we put it into words, people say, look, he said he's gone and his Lord is there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Allah becomes your eyes with which you see. It doesn't mean Allah is your eyes. It means that He protects your eyes, and you don't look, you don't see anything except that Allah has given you the vision to see that. And there are many things in the world, in the room, right now, in this masjid, there are many things in this place with us that we are not seeing. Because Allah hasn't given us vision to see that. Right? We see by Allah's permission. We hear by Allah's permission. We feel by Allah's permission. Everything that I am, everything that I do is only by Allah. This is Fana. This is Fana. So this is also all belief and lip service. Right? How do you get from one to the other? There's two ways. The first way is muraqabah. The first way, a person has to be alone with Allah. A person has to take time every day, not once a week, not once a month, not once in a while. Every day they have to be alone with Allah. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I know shayukh that do it for 3 hours every single day. That's to me, I have too many responsibilities, to be quite frank. And may Allah bless me at some point in my life to spend 3 hours with Him. I mean, but the reality is that these you spend time alone with Allah. Shut everything off. Again, people attack Sufis because they turn down the lights, and no, get rid of all distractions.
That is the reason why you turn the lights on.
This is the reason why you get up in the last third of the night, because there are no lights. Everything, the world is in darkness. There's stillness. There's no noise. There's no light. There's no distractions. It's just you and Allah. And so in that last third of the night, you spend that time sitting and being. Just be with Allah. Just be with Allah. This in itself can be a catalyst over time, though albeit a slow drip. Right? Trial. So this is the slow drip method. And then you have the deluge method, which is the trials and tribulations, as I mentioned earlier. That if a person knows Allah, if you've taken time to form the foundation of a relationship with Allah, when you get arrested unjustly, because we are not a criminal people, when you suffer an injury, when you suffer a loss of any kind, whether it be in your career, in your education, in your family, in your friends, when you suffer these trials and tribulations and you realize, I don't have any power, I don't have any control, there's nothing I can do about this, right? When you go through these trials and tribulations, they serve as a catalyst, as long as your heart has been prepared. But so many of us, we haven't taken the time to prepare our hearts well, so that we can experience these catalysts for what they are. One of the things that if a parent, a woman should have it very easy to have a state of fana. And men too, but women specifically, mothers. As a father, we can I know what I'm talking about from a father's position. But when I talk about this, I mention the women because if I experience this, how much more so a mother? When our children are sick, when your children suffer from something like pneumonia, or a child has whooping cough, or a child just has trouble breathing, and there's nothing that you can do. Your child is sick from pneumonia, I already said pneumonia, anything like this, a flu, influenza, there's 3 days, they're weak, they have fever, all these things, they or a stomach virus where they keep vomiting and they can't hold fluid, and so you're fearful that they're going to dehydrate. All of these situations that parents face with their children at one point or another, you recognize, I don't have any power. I love this child with all my heart. I would do anything. I would sacrifice the world to save this child. Right? But I can't do anything. That's fana. That's fana. When you recognize that I would, if I had any power, I would do everything to save this child. Make them well. But I'm powerless. And it's only up to Allah. Right? And the doctors with the best of medicines are powerless except by the permission of Allah. You don't believe me? Go to the emergency room. Have the child looked at by the doctor and they'll say there's nothing we can do. You just have to be patient through this. Right? The reality is that Allah. So these type of things, this is why I said it's very easy for mothers, because they go through these things, but they would reach this if their hearts were well prepared for it. But most of us, we have not prepared our hearts well, right? And so Allah knows best. This is my understanding of transitioning from a simple belief in the matter to an actualization or tasting or experiencing of the realities of it. And one of the things about these states is that oftentimes we can experience a state for a moment, for a flash, for a day. Sometimes it lasts a whole week, and oftentimes it goes away. And then we go on and we experience it again, another state. If we continue in this, then it becomes a station. We arrive at the station of Fana. It becomes a part of who we are. But in the temporary, most of us only experience states where we taste it momentarily, for a moment, meaning, again, whether that be a flash, an hour, a day, a week, if we experience for that moment, cherish it, cultivate it, nourish it. But it may still go away because it's a state until it reaches the state of being a station. And the difference between a state and a station is a state is temporary, a station becomes a part of who you are. Inshallah, just to be very clear, inshallah. So this is what I know, and Allah knows best, inshallah. Anything, is that clear, or? Okay, inshallah. Anything else? جيد. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.